Yo, what up everybody, welcome back to another video. So today I got something new for y'all. I found this library called React Suite and it's pretty cool. It's fairly new to the stage. It has been developing for about 6 years and it's starting to pick up steam now. And this library is fairly good for enterprise products. It can work well with Electron, regular React websites, and something that I've never heard of called Reason. Now before I show you guys the whole components and the guides for this library, I want to just show you guys the caveats for this, which I think is very important. So if you're going to get it started, we'll see the first thing is that this thing is no longer supported by Internet Explorer that's less than or equal to version 10. If you want to use for Internet Explorer version 10, then you have to use React 4.0. It's designed to be implemented on modern desktop browsers rather than mobile browsers. And so Firefox, Chrome, Safari, they're pretty good. Internet Explorer 11, I don't use Internet Explorer, so this doesn't really apply to me at all. But if you do, then this is something that you should keep in mind. This is really good for server-side rendering, so it supports it. And so this is the thing I was talking about right here. So it supports TypeScript, React 16 Plus, Electron, and Reason. And they have some examples right here of how to use this. You can set up an Electron, create React app flow, etc., and all the good stuff like that. You can contribute to it. There's test-driven development. And now let me just go ahead and show you guys the actual components for this bad boy. So about the components, I've pooped on a lot of libraries specifically about this, where a lot of them look basically like the same nowadays. Where Material UI has the material designs attached to it, and every other library will do its best to sort of have that same feel to it, and React Suite is no different. The library components are fairly basic and with a couple of add-ons to it. So you have nav and navbar, you have check tree picker, which is pretty interesting. You can in a drop down, you can literally check items like that if you wanted. You have date range picker, which is something that you have to pay for in popular libraries like Material UI, and calendar and all that sort of good stuff. So let's say we go into a component. I've pulled out the button component right here, and it does a pretty mediocre job, in my opinion, of displaying components, in my own personal opinion. So it does a really good job initially, where it shows you exactly what kind of imports it's available to you, what each of the actual props does for that import, and it has examples. Now the examples are pretty cool. I like the examples, but the only weakness that I've seen with this library and a lot of other libraries is when you see the source code, it's pretty empty. You have, in this case, just a variable showing how to use it. That's it. I would really appreciate, and I think a lot of other people also appreciate, is that if there's a code sandbox or something like that where you can actually see it in action and see how it's working, and maybe even tinker around with it in that sandbox. But in this case, most of these components really only have this see the source in GitHub, and it's the exact same thing as what's in the actual little pop-up right here. And after that, let's talk about the icons. So the icons are pretty nice. Out of the box, they will help get the job done to a certain amount. They're not the most detailed, you won't have the most specific type of icons, but you have the ones that will get you started and will get you through most of your project. But thankfully, React Suite also has supports with third-party library components such as Font Awesome, React Icons, and Icon Fonts. And after that, if you go into design sources, it shows you exactly how they did their own design sources for light theme, dark theme, showing the palette for different colors. Now this is something that I really like. I don't really see much in other libraries where you can actually see all the primary colors in a neat fashion like that, where you can have different type of previews for front end, back end, all that sort of good stuff. After that, you do have your extension components. If you want to connect with charts that our suite has, schema, responsive navbar, document nav, and all that sort of good stuff, it does provide that. And again, the example projects right here. So I'm gonna just quickly talk about the charts that our suite has, and I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I really like the examples they have. There's some pretty nice charts here, especially the world map. I don't see this anywhere. I haven't seen this for a long time. I remember YouTube had their YouTube Studio where you'd see where your audience is from in a world map type of concept, and I have loved seeing it, and I just haven't seen it used very often. But it's amazing to see that this library has that installed and its own extension. And finally, what I'm going to talk about is themes. This does have 3 different type of themes available to it, and I've only ever seen 2, light theme and dark theme. And they also have high contrast, which it uses a limited color palette with contrasting colors to make an interface easier to use. It's useful for when users have photosensitivity or contrast issues, as well as in low light environments. That's amazing to see. I really, really love that like this exists in this library, and it's not the easiest to use in my opinion, at least from the actual documentation here. But I will be making a video on this and expanding upon this and showing some basic tutorials on how to use some of the components and how to use dark mode, navigation charts, and all this sort of good stuff. So stay tuned for that, and if you enjoyed this introduction, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.